Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Kick the Stage Fright 3-day series, where we can go ahead and make sure that you start feeling confident in your abilities, and that way that you can start making money. That's the whole thing. We want to make sure you're confident because you are a powerful, intuitive business owner, and we want to make sure that you can make money for that. So today we're going to be talking about how to cut the jargon and go with your soul. Basically, how you can make sure that all the information that you channel and all the divine downloads you get from all the work that you do is understandable to your audience, because it's mixed in with all kinds of spiritual mumbo jumbo, and not all the time do the muggles understand that. I'm just going to call them the muggles because that's exactly what they are. When you come in, tell me hi. If you're watching the replay, please let me know. Just post that you're watching the replay. Let's make sure that I have sound, because that's important. It's important to have sound. Hi, Megan. I just talked to Megan, which, by the way, I want to say so far, I'm proud of everybody that's been doing the series so far. Yesterday, we talked about putting on our leather jackets so we can detox all of the fear that we have about our confidence issues right out of our business so we can get started. And Megan, I just got off the phone with her, and we came up with a game plan for her to do that. And it's going to be amazing. Which, by the way, I have some action step sessions still available. If you haven't had a session with me yet, haven't talked to me on the phone, and we haven't talked about your business, go to the pinned post at the top of the group and make sure you grab it, because I believe we have like 5 left. It's not that many. I'm excited. Yeah! I'm excited too. I can't wait to see what you do with it. So today, as people are coming in, I've got a poll for you that I'd like you to do. I got a question. Are you scared of not being understood by your clients? And when I say this, I mean, if you're afraid that the words you use are going to leave them going, what? Like, you do a Reiki session and you're talking about chakras and stuff, and they're like, I don't know what the hell you're talking about. Can you put it in English for me? Or you're doing a reading and you have no clue how in the world to tell them about the 3 of Swords. All they know is that there's 3 swords stabbing a heart, and it's terrifying. Who has this issue? Hi, Anna. Hi, Maria. How are you today? Let me know, ladies, as you come in, what you think of this poll. The question is, are you scared of not being understood by clients? I know this is especially a problem for people that do feng shui, and maybe even if you sell physical products like malas, because it has a specific number of beads in it. Not all the time do people understand the significance. So when you explain it, it's just like, what? You know? Hello. Let me know if you have issues with that. So far, everybody here has problems with that. So let me know, what are you afraid of when it comes to that? What are you trying to translate for them? Is it that, I know a big one for this is, what if they ask if we're soulmates and then we're not? How am I going to explain that to them and tell them what they may not want to hear? I know that's a really good one. Hi, Lisa. Let us know in the poll if you're scared of not being understood by your clients when you're trying to give them guidance or information. I know Lisa did our mediumship workshop, so maybe if you're trying to deliver messages from their past loved ones, if you have a hard time explaining to them what it feels and what it means and everything, because it's all very symbolic sometimes if you're clairvoyant. Or even just trying to communicate how your process works, you know? And have you had any experiences where that happens? Because I know that the number one problem that I'm seeing, like, across psychics is that we want to be tuned in, tapped, and turned on 24/7. And it's just like, we can't be perfect in everything that we do, because perfect is not fun or easy. And perfect, if this was a perfect world, technically we wouldn't have jobs. We wouldn't be doing this for a living because everyone would be healers. We'd just be passing around sessions everywhere. You know what I mean? Okay. Let's see. We can keep this up for a second. As more people come in, I'll ask them if they have problems with this. Maria says, I worry the cards talk about something, but they wanted to know about something else. Oh, okay. That's a very valid fear. Or maybe even that you do a reading for one person and it turns out to be for someone else completely. And then you're like, well, now I got to redo it because I'm supposed to be giving a reading to Billy Bob, but I have a reading for Susan instead, But yeah, and it's like the client paid you to get something done, and then like they paid you for a love reading and you're talking about business. Anna says, since I don't do readings for people I don't know at this time, most of them do understand where I'm trying to go with the readings. The fun part is when I don't understand what I'm talking about and the one getting the reading gets the whole picture. Okay, so it's not so much other people in translating, but it's also, how can I translate this for me? Because I may not understand this. That's very valid. That's very valid. And because it's like, not all the time does the stuff we channel or the stuff that we talk about for readings make a lick of sense to us because we're a third party. We have no clue what's happening. I got on the call the other day. Someone was talking about how they sometimes channel messages while they're out and about. And they're just like, is there a Barbara here? Like, it's yelling at me about a Barbara. I don't know who Barbara is, And it can be a little Lisa said, that's why I hate doing general readings. They're always based on stuff people do not want to hear. Exactly, that too. And it's hard to communicate it because they're like, oh, just give me a general reading, and then you call them out on their mess and they get pissy at you. I totally get it. Oh, all of these are super valid points. So that's what it is. Just hands down, everybody is afraid of this. And it's very understandable because, again, we want to read minds 100%. And there's this expectation that if you do any kind of intuitive business, whether you decide to do coaching, readings, create products, healing sessions, aromatherapy, literally everything, that you have to be on point all the time. And again, if we did that, it wouldn't be fun, it wouldn't be easy, and actually we'd be pretty damn tired and we would not want to do this for our job. It turns into the regular 9-to-5s, slinging burgers, which, good for those people. I appreciate them and the jobs that they do, but it turns into kind of that droning mess or that heavy labor kind of thing. And if that's not where you energetically are, it's obviously not going to work for you. Some people will enjoy it, some people won't. And it becomes like this language barrier. You're trying to communicate with them what you mean, but it's like speaking another language. Because sometimes you literally are. You're talking about keywords and tags and stuff that they don't even know. The everyday person doesn't bury their head in tarot books like we do, or bury their heads in herb books, or learn how to make malas correctly and the history behind them. They don't think about Buddhist theory and sacred geometry and stuff because they just don't. Sometimes if we work with that market, yeah, they will, but there's still a language barrier that has to be happen. And honestly, today, because it's all about jargon and how we expect to be perfect, the real thing about this is that there is beauty in imperfection. You know what I mean? So, like, for example, yesterday I talked a little bit about when I got my first leather jacket, right? And that became kind of my bubble. And then one thing that also added on to it is my family was big on watching America's Next Top Model when we had cable. Like when you just regular apartment complex, plug in the cord in the wall, and you get the regular TV stations. That was our cable. And when America's Next Top Model was going on, the thing that I loved about Tyra Banks, who ran it, is she picked models who purposely stood out for their unique characteristics. And even when they added the men in there, and it wasn't just about women anymore, she picked people that intentionally had something different about them, because that's what made them beautiful. That's how they got their personality shining through their photos, and that's what worked. And I remember especially watching that, and then, because my grandparents had their catering business, they did weddings. And I would do the wedding shows, and I would wear the flower girl and the bridesmaids dresses, and I would do the runway shows with them. And I would try to embody that, is learn to use what I have and flaunt that. Because there's a piece of you that is so special and so specific that not everyone has it. Like, and the most perfect shoots from that show were imperfect behind the scenes. Like season 3, the winner for season 3, one of the highest photos she had to do was they had to do a diamond commercial with a live tarantula that had been defanged, but it was live. And she was terrified of spiders. And the whole shoot, she's got tears streaming down her face. She's so terrified of this thing. And she had the most beautiful photo. You can Google it. Her name is Ava. She's wonderful. Where she just has her hand on her face, and she's got the diamonds in her hand, and the tarantula is right on the other side. And it's moving the whole time. It's going everywhere. So you have to use it as your partner. And it's like, oh, they don't see the behind the scenes where she's freaking out. But because she was crying, her eyes were like glistening. And her makeup looked perfect. And it was just this beautiful, intricate photo that she won. She won the entire show. It's when you don't take what is yours, when you don't take what makes you special and different, and you aren't prepared to show it, and you hide it from everyone else that there's a problem, and you don't have confidence in what you can do, and you aren't ready to take the stage and be like, yes, this is me, you know, like Greatest Showman, this is me kind of thing. So, and to give another example from the show, there was one season, it made me mad because contestant's name was Rachel. And I believe they were in Italy, and they were doing go-sees. Models have to go to a designer's place and be interviewed, walk, try on the clothes, that kind of thing. And this specific person said that if modeling didn't work out for them, because they were asked that question, they wanted to go into theater because they loved musicals. And you can see why it made me mad. Because on the spot, it's expected that if that's what you want to do, you need to have a monologue or a song prepared. That's how it is. You need to be prepared for that kind of thing. And she was stumped. She didn't do anything, and she went home early. Immediately, like 5 minutes later, they said, okay, go pack your bags, you're going home. Because there was something unique about her. No one else knew like that she was into theater. No one else knew that that's what she was planning to do, and that was a part of her. But because she was so scared, and she just wanted to impress people and just wanted to put out there, yeah, this is something I want to do. And then when they ask it and they want you to show up and do it, she couldn't do it. And it made me mad because I'm like, I'll do it. Shoot, I'll replace the Rachel, right? So there's a part of you when it comes to your healings, when it comes to your coaching, when it comes to your business and your products and everything that you create that is specifically you. We spend so much time with the numbers and freaking out about, oh my God, are they going to buy this? Are they going to buy this? It's not going to matter if it speaks to you. If it is authentically and purely you and you show up and you do it, right? So it's not going to matter at that point because you're going to attract the right people. And that's how you know who your high vibe clients are, because they're just going to come to you. They're going to message you. They're going to go in your communities. They're going to show up in your inbox. They're going to be on your email list and send you emails saying, hey, I loved your stuff. And those of you that do that for me, I read them. And I love them and they make me happy. So all of this, we need to figure out how you can cut the jargon and show up so that what you love, you are still doing it. And it's understandable to the right people. Does that make sense? Lisa says, the hardest part is to simply say what you know as opposed to trying to make sense of it. Our filters get in the way. Absolutely. Megan says, beauty and imperfection. That's kind of like kitsunugi, the Japanese art of repairing broken pottery with lacquer dusted or mixed with powdered gold, silver, or platinum. Exactly. They find beauty in things that have been broken and repaired, because it's your war marks. And it's funny, this can be applied to literally anything, but especially our niche, right? So because, for example, I'm on keto, okay? I've been overweight since I had my daughter. Total transparency. I'll use myself as an example. And majority of the keto groups that I'm a part of, about once a week, someone will pop up saying, does anybody hate that their skin sags? Or does anybody hate that they have stretch marks still? And I was very blunt when I said it. I told them, like, I'm going to be very blunt here. It's not against you, but it's just my clear statement. I consider it my warrior marks. The stretch marks show me that my body is a habitable space, that my toddler was nurtured in my environment, and that my body is fertile enough to have another one or another 10, you know? The skin's gonna sag. Honestly, it's been sagging all my life. So, and then when it comes to the spiritual stuff, it's like, yeah, I'm very young. Someone mentioned this in another business group the other day. I'm very young. I'm 24. I started this in 2014 when I was 20. I got married to my husband the following year when I was 21. I'm young considering what niche this is. I see you, Pam. I'll answer your question afterwards. And that is difficult for some people because majority of our niche, just like probably majority of the people that are in here, you went through your 20s and your 30s, and then about there, you may have started on your spiritual journey, or later. This is usually a niche for people who are older and who have been through life experience. And one of the things that I have to accept when it comes to me and my jargon is I've got to speak to the right audience, but at the same time not hide me. So I'll cuss. I'll talk about theater terms. Just like I'm creating a new program that I'm gonna go ahead and put my theater in here, because that's just me and that's how I talk. That's me with all my metaphors. I have to use it how I speak, but also take the channeling and the words that come out and make sure it makes sense to someone else. And I ask for confirmation. You know what I mean? So first off, hi, Kat. First off, with getting rid of this jargon, so that you can be authentically you and be confident and still speak to the right people, it's figure out who you're talking to first, okay? If you're trying to relate, this is a problem for our niche, is anybody with a spiritual business is trying to appeal to everybody and their grandma with $5, as my grandmother would say. You know, you're trying to be the Walmart of spiritual services. Oh, I do jewelry and I make soaps and I do Reiki sessions and I have 50 certifications in sacred geometry and I can do tarot and oracle and Lenormand and palmistry and tea leaves and I Ching. You have a lot of stuff. I love that. And if you're one of those people who has 1 billion certifications, good for you. But if you show up with 1 billion certifications and act like the Wally World of spiritual services, You're not going to get as much people as you would if you just slimmed it. And I don't mean, this is coming from someone who's intuitive divination, right? I love all kinds of divination. But when it comes to my offers for readings, if you go on my website, I've got 3. You can either pick Tarot or Lenormand. Majority now it's Lenormand. You can do palmistry. And I think I took my shufflemancy off. So now it's actually 2, technically. Right? My offers are being condensed. So you get 3 things when you do like biz stuff with me. That way, even though I am a genre, I am still sticking to everything within that genre, right? It's just when I dabble in a billion things. And I get it. When you first start out and you just want to heal the world, you want to do everything, right? When I started out, I had my reading Etsy shop. And then last year, I got my physical Etsy shop, the Crohn's Magic Corner shop on Etsy. And then earlier this year, I had the inspiration to do a wedding shop, like spiritual wedding shop. And it was still within the umbrella, but it was completely different than what I wanted to do. I needed to hone it down. So now, like, my reading shop is on vacation mode because I'm not focusing on readings now. I'm focusing on coaching. I'll still do them, but it's not a big thing for me. I put my wedding shop on vacation mode. I'm just focusing on the physical products over there because it is still a part of my school. I sell the products like the school supplies over there, right? So stuff like that. We love that you know all the billion things. I love that you're so multifaceted because it makes your entire reading and healing experience so well-rounded. But simplify. What do they all have in common? Or are you just picking up things? Just pick up things. Right? We don't go... we have that thing with college and university, how you need to do your general education, you need to do a little math, a little English, stuff like that. But then you go into your major knowing everything about one subject and one specification. And then that sums down as you get a master's and then as you get a doctorate, right? It does that. Think of your spiritual practice the exact same way, okay? Get the tools that are gonna help you. And then don't go take underwater basket weaving. Don't do that. That's cool, but how are you going to use that, right? Unless you're going to do a retreat where you do underwater basket weaving, you know? So don't focus. And people do this also with spiritual businesses because, you know, we like to envision, like 50% of us are clairvoyant, so we want to see in our mind's eye the eye color and the hair color and the stress lines and all that kind of stuff on our clients. We want to know their exact age range. We want to know their favorite shirt to wear because we want to get visual with it, right? We don't care about that. Don't care about that. Just care about what their problem is and what the solution is. Mike, who are they? What's the problem? Where do they want to be? And then you can answer how you can help that if you figure out those 3 things, right? So figuring out what you need to do, well, out of all your certifications, out of all the things you've learned, needs to stem from what that person needs. So for example, I work with online coaches and readers that use divination. So really online business owners that use divination, that have a hard time making consistent months in their business, and they want to fill their calendars while saving the world, pretty much. Chances are that's who you are in this group. You're a reader of some kind, you use divination in some way. And then I go into how I can help you, right? That can sum down my offers. That's why I ask you, what do you want from me? Where are you struggling? Literally, that's how this was created. This series was created by me asking you what your problem was. And you told me it was confidence. So we're going to fix that, right? The language that these people will use will follow. Pay attention to the keywords that they use. If you want to literally copy and paste the phrase that they use, you can. But your soul divination offer, aka the healing method that you use, or the way that you create your products, or the way that you coach and read, is going to match what they need, what their problem is, and how they want to get to the solution, right? And you can sum this down really easily. Do you have a person that needs the details and needs the itty bitty stuff? Palm reading. Those of you that are in the palm reading course are learning this right now, how detailed it is. Does someone need healing because they're going through chemotherapy and dialysis? They need Reiki or aromatherapy or crystal healing, okay? Do you have someone who recently lost a loved one or a pet and they have a hard time coping because they never got to say goodbye? They need mediumship. And your preferred way to do mediumship is going to help them, right? Figure out what the problem is and you know what to use. That's your soul divination method, right? And in the beginning, stick with 2 to 3 offers of different ranges, because that's going to keep you open to other people, or that's going to nurture them into getting higher and higher, right? So, and it makes sure they're all cohesive, because then your message is clear. It's concise, not clear, concise and clear. And it makes sure it's all together, because you don't want to offer a reading for love readings for tarot for $47, and then a Reiki session to get rid of that pain in your left foot for $97, and then you don't want to do a coaching session on how they can start making money. None of them make any sense. Make it flow. So let's say that you want to do stuff for love. We have people in here who don't like love readings, but we have people who do. Maybe you start off with a really cheap love reading for like $47 to $97. Okay? Then maybe you'll do a healing session around their heart chakra in order to help aid getting rid of the pain from their ex or any past traumas. You're going to pull the 3 of Swords Reiki session. Pull those swords out gently, kind of thing. And then maybe you have a self-love coaching session where you meet every 2 weeks. And you give them journal prompts, or you give them easy everyday ways to do self-love or something like that. 3 tiers, 3 offers, done. And they're all within the same thing of love, right? Does that make sense? Am I just rambling? I want to make sure that that's clear for you. Hi, Lauren. I saw your Voxer. I'll get back to you. Give me hearts or likes if that makes sense. If not, drop a comment and I'll make sure that you are supported in your understanding. Makes sense. Awesome. A theme, so to speak. Yep. And tier it, because your audience is going to tell you, the person that you want to help, their problem is going to tell you what they need to do. Awesome sauce. Everybody's on point. The other way to help with jargon. I don't want to say 1,000% of the time, but it's pretty high. Every time I see issues with people wanting to sell something, when it comes to this, like to our specific area of expertise, all spiritual services, what do you do first? If you have a problem with your offer and you want to know if it'll sell, where do you go put it? Who do you ask? Let me know in the comments, because I want to see if there's a theme here. And there's no wrong answers. And then I'll tell you what I've noticed. My husband, good. That's an awesome person to ask first. Other readers, I was thinking social media. Uh-huh. Same husband. Okay. Wonderful. Typically, and you're right on the nose. Sometimes Facebook profile. Yeah. Okay. Typically, people go ask their spouse. They go ask their family. Uh-huh, Maria. Or they go ask other readers or people within that niche. Maybe you're in a support group or something where everyone's helping each other. Right? Those are the worst places, honestly. If that's all the guidance that you're getting, that's the worst thing to do. It's good to ask opinions, right? To be like, hey, what do you think about me doing this? Because they love you. But because they love you, they're going to say they're going to buy it. And sometimes they genuinely do. You might get a family member that's a current client. My mother, my sisters, your family, because they love you and you know that they're going to support you in whatever you do. Or you go ask other professionals within your same area. But technically, we like to have that love-centered environment, and I'm not putting negative stuff out there, but technically they're your competition. If we were to take what we do and put it underneath any other branch of business, if we were to put this in Etsy sellers, because that's what I did for like 2 years, was selling on Etsy, right? If I were to take my product and put it on an Etsy page and ask for support, what do they immediately notice? You got no tags. Your description isn't long enough. You don't have enough photos. They don't care about buying it. Or they'll be like, oh my God, this is pretty. That's about it. They're not going to say, oh my God, yes, I would do this. If you ask about the pricing, they're seeing it from a seller's point of view of, yeah, that sounds good for the amount of time that you put into it. Not from an actual person who buys it. That's the problem. And if you do have family members who run a business, that's also the thing. It can be different because their niche may be different than yours, right? They might be thinking of the fees that they would tack onto it instead of the things that you were doing. These are people, sometimes, like if I were to go to my grandmother, I wouldn't about this, and I were to ask her about my program. She was in catering. And then if I were to ask my grandfather, he sold hookahs. They sold physical products, which has to be sold differently than a service. Now, they would know a little bit because they did catering, and they would cater and wait events, but not in the sense of coaching. So it's a little bit different, right? And again, they're my family. They would tell me that it's good because they want to see me succeed and they want to see me make money. Knowing my grandfather, he would tell me to raise it to a couple $1,000s because that's my grandfather, right? But we want to figure out when it comes to your product, now you know what you need to sell because your person has a problem and your product is going to fix that. But how are we going to talk to them? And usually when you go do that, let's say you go ask your family or you go ask other business owners what they would do, then you treat your clients how you would want to be treated, right? And you see this all the time. If you go on Etsy or on Amazon and you have a seller who is very deep in the spiritual stuff, they will talk about all the metaphysical properties of jade or onyx when selling a mala. You can pick them out. You can tell who is actually spiritual. They'll say that they've been in an ashram for freaking 10 years, or that you can use this for meditation. They are giving the metaphysical stuff. And yes, that is made for a specific audience, but your average 5th grade reading level, 30-second, not even 30-second, like 10-second attention span Etsy seller or Etsy buyer is not going to buy it because it's too much. The jargon is in there. We need to clear the jargon out. So how do you remedy this? Talk to them how they want to be talked to. Platinum customer service. We like to talk about the golden rule a lot. Do the platinum rule. Treat other people how they want to be treated, right? Make sure they feel comfortable. Don't be a salesman about it and blast people in your inbox and make a face. Every time someone adds you as a friend, go and ask, hey, do you want a reading? No, that's creepy. And I'm a fellow reader. I don't want to do that. I sell myself too. And when you give that kind of vibe, that's kind of weird. But if you're very gentle and you introduce yourself and you say, I'm glad that you made the connection. I hope we can be great friends or whatever. Or I look forward to working with you or whatever. Then cool. They're like, oh, she was nice. Or he was nice. That's wonderful. Or they were nice. You platinum customer service. Right? And how do people want to be treated? They want to be, typically for me, in a timely manner. Give them clear expectations. And then abide by those expectations. So like typically the days that I go and check up on my people, I'll say in a couple days I'll check on you to see how you're doing. Usually it's Fridays that I do that. I reach out and I'm like, hey, how you doing? All my coaching clients know that by Friday, by the end of the week, majority of the time in 24 hours, but by the end of the week, they're getting their summaries from me because I've set that expectation, right? And then they know about how long it's going to be. They know we're going to talk about, and they know how the amount of access they have to me. Because I've set that expectation, and I'm treating them how they want to be treated. I talk to them. I make sure that they're comfortable. See if they have questions, you know? So your soul client has a problem. How do they want to be treated about that problem? Because there's a difference between someone who needs to coach and yell at you about what you're doing. And there's a mentor or a healer or a guide. There's different names for a reason because they have different expectations with it. Does that make sense? Give me likes or hearts if that makes sense. Or if not, then let me know that it doesn't. Megan says, my mom owns a business, but my mistake is she's in a different business and doesn't know mine. Yeah, and it's all in good intentions, right? All they want to do is love you and tell you that you're doing a wonderful job. But not all the time is that the best place to ask. The best place to ask is literally where your clients hang out. Go on there, because if you know what your client's problem is, you know the kind of person they are, you're going to know where they are. Right? Majority of the time, you're going to know where they are. Awesome. And notice this with little things. And it doesn't even have to be in our niche. That's also the problem. Like sometimes we do research in our own area and to compare ourselves to other people. Take someone completely different. For example, I like watching YouTubers, mainly gamers. I like watching Let's Plays because even if I don't want to buy the game, I want to watch someone else play it because I like watching, right? And I like watching this Canadian dude named Sips. Okay, that's not his actual name, but that's his name. And he likes to live stream, and he is the ultimate dad. This 40-year-old dude that makes nothing but the dad jokes, the inappropriate dad jokes. And what is his audience? The other day he asked, how old is everybody in here? The youngest person was 29. The oldest was 50. And majority of them are guys who are also fathers. So his audience is other dads. And he plays the games that those other dads play, right? So he knows his audience and he knows how they can talk. And they're snarky and they go back and forth together. That's his niche. He knows his area now and he's comfortable with it and he makes a living for his family like that. So think of it in that kind of way for yourself too. His platinum customer service is he shows up on Twitch and streams for 6 hours, the same game, even if it pisses him off. And then he comes back tomorrow and does it again. Done. Super easy, right? Megan says, my grandmother, you could be the next Joe Malone. She gives a lot of support, shoots for the moon. Absolutely. And it's just like, probably if I were to tell my grandmother, she'd be like, you're going to be Miss Cleo? I don't want to be Miss Cleo, but sure, since that's who you know, right? It's just whatever. And so focus on what your client wants because they're going to tell you what they need from you and how they want it, right? And then, of course, the third thing, the dreaded thing about jargon and about wanting to give content to people the way that they want to be talked to, right? And how to go with your soul about it is being prepared for the unexpected. Part of the problem with wanting to talk to other people, especially if you're brand new, and let's say you want to get on the hotlines, you're terrified because you Google and you see all the horror stories about, I was on the hotlines and this guy flashed me in the middle of a chat, or he started being really derogatory, or you get the people who show up and pretend to be someone else and then at the end say, ha ha, you're a fake, because all of that's a damn lie, and then they hang up. Or you give them a really good reading and then at the end of it they do a chargeback and say that none of that was accurate. And you're like, I'm afraid now. I want to heal the world and I'm getting the nasty pit. Like, I'm getting the gutter first, right? And when you're working any kind of business, there's always a risk of getting assholes, okay? There's always a risk of getting those freebie seekers. Every comedian knows when they step up on a stage, there's a risk of getting a heckler. It's how you handle the heckler that matters, right? So I get the person that comes on and pretends to be someone else. I tell them, so you get off on, messing with me when this is my job. And you just gave me $20 to turn around and waste my time. Thanks for the $20, but goodbye, right? Or on a random, for example, because that hotline has issues because they have a sister site that's porn cams, that's the cam girls, and the cam boys. Got to include our men in here. People have issues because sometimes the customers will go over on a random, which is the psychic site, and they will expect the same thing. I've had situations where someone expects me to do something in a room, and I tell them, if I raise my stuff up to 90 an hour, I'm not taking anything else. I'm going to stare at you. I'm going to chill here. And then they get nasty, and I kick them out the lobby. It's how you handle it that matters. And yes, you can feel violated. You can feel like you've been taken advantage of. That's happened to me so many times with readings. My time is taken advantage of. My first reoccurring client was $100 a month. I talked to her every 2 weeks, supposed to be for 30 minutes, about any kind of reading she wanted. Those sessions, because I set the bar so low and because I was so dependent sometimes on that $100 a month, it would turn into 90 minutes sometimes and cut into my time. Or because she was in a different time zone than me, she'd be messaging me and blowing up my phone at 2 a.m. asking for a reading. All about one person. Always. The whole time we talked to each other, it was about one person. So you kind of have to go through the gunk in order to get to the good stuff, so you learn your boundaries. But it's not as scary as it seems. It just seems scarier because you're not experiencing it. It's stage fright. It's scarier to be in the wings watching everybody else on stage doing a wonderful job than it is to be on stage and just do your lines, right? And you know what? Just because you get one or two people this way, like let's say that you have a spot on reading, you know you're good, you're doing that platinum customer service, you know the problem, and then they're an asshole. Or they don't buy from you. Or they just act up and the situation does not turn out how you wanted to. That does not mean 100% of your readings are going to be that way. If anything, that's 20% of what your readings will be. And the more you do it, the more that pool goes away. And yeah, let's say you are that person who reaches out and asks, like, hey, do you want to work with me? Like, let's get on a call. Let's talk about my program and what I'm doing. Majority of the time, it's like a 20% close rate, right? If I was just talking about this with somebody. If we want to book 7 people, we got to talk to 35, right? because you're going to get more no's than you will yeses in the coaching sense. Product sense, if you have a physical product, it takes someone 7 to 10 times to see your shop and to see you before they buy, right? And that's everywhere. They see your stuff on Pinterest while they're scrolling through. They see your stuff in the search when they're on Etsy looking for your stuff. They see you in Facebook groups for an ad. Maybe they join your email list and they get an email from you. It takes about 7 to 10 times before they finally do it. Think about when you bought something, how many times did you have to see it or think about it before you went out and grabbed it, right? For any product that's not a necessity, right? It takes you a minute, and that's okay, okay? Because the common things that are wrong and the common things that can happen, it's not going to ruin you. It's not going to completely throw everything away. It's just, it happens, right? Does that make sense? What other fears do you have about starting a business and then running into people like this, or not being able to explain things well enough? Let me know, because I want to make sure everybody here is supported. It's like a 30-second delay, so I'm watching myself drink water real quick. And if you don't have any, just tell me. Just let me know, because I want to make sure you're crystal clear. Because also, I can take this from a director's point of view, right? And I can talk about stage fright in so many different ways, because that's this whole series. It's like, it's stage fright, all the things that go through your head when it comes to your business and things going wrong. It's just like getting on stage. Sometimes you need those little tips and tricks to make yourself feel better when it comes to jargon, you know, or to keep away the people that are a little off. So like, for example, I'll put hematite next to me when I'm on the hotlines, or when I'm looking for the right people for programs, because then it keeps the freebie seekers away. Then it keeps the negative Nancy's away that would cause me problems. And if I want to cleanse something and make sure the area is clear, I'll keep some citrine on me. I have citrine live on my deck when I'm doing readings. Or if I'm doing coaching, I take a couple seconds to breathe and quickly get into a trance-like state. Because I can do that now. I can 2 breaths and I can be in, right? So it's a matter of finding your tips and tricks. What's going to make it easy for you? Lisa says, most starting out have a fear about how to be accountable. Absolutely. And how much time needs to be accounted for in your personal life, how to make adjustments for being present for strangers. Absolutely. That's a wonderful point. And the big thing here is just getting really honest with yourself about the time that you can dedicate, because you could be like me when I first started out, where I started 4 months postpartum, going to school, being in shows, having a work study and a part-time job, and get my homework done and run a business. You could be scheduling 2 to 3 blog posts a week in the middle of your English class when you're supposed to be paying attention to Aristotle, and screw Aristotle. You could do that, or you could reasonably think to yourself, how much time can I dedicate each week without burning myself out and allowing myself to have a day off, right? That's how come part of what's in here, in the workbook that you get today, that's actually available now. I'll make sure to, in case you haven't signed up for it, which, by the way, I want to hear from you. If you haven't posted your workbook responses, whoa, what was that? There we go. If you haven't posted your responses yet, I want to hear them from yesterday. Just use hashtag StageFright1 for yesterday and hashtag StageFright2 here in the group, and it'll let me see them. That's how come we walk through what do you want to talk, like who do you want to talk to, the kind of offers that you want to do, and then I talked to you about a spreadsheet bundle. I created something that I realized I was using myself, but could easily be used for other people who have a hard time with time, right? Something that was easy to follow, that'll help you get a hold of your time better in your business, no matter what you're selling. That way you can start getting clients now. And you know how to talk to them because you've gone through this and you're talking to me about it, right? So all you got to do is figure out what you're doing every month and then how you're going to implement that every week and what you're going to sell. Because that's the problem. Like, some of us have, shiny object syndrome. And we go run after things because we're like, oh my God, that sounds good. And then you realize that the whole day has passed. You realize that the whole day has passed and you've done absolutely nothing. So this really helps you with time. At the end of the workbooks, actually, I'm pretty sure at the end of every workbook for this week, I let you know about it. And it's perfect to schedule for your business because we're getting you with the confidence part. And now that your confidence blocks are flowing out and that you're feeling really good, boom, now you're like, now how can I make the time? Because now you want to make the time. Just look at the end of your workbook and you get all the details for it. Down the Pinterest rabbit hole. Exactly. Megan says guilty. Yeah. Yeah. Or you're like, oh, it's hard because I work on social media, I work on Facebook, and I'm supposed to be networking in groups, but turns out I'm actually scrolling through groups and commenting on things and sharing funny pictures and memes and stuff. I'll admit it, that's happened to me before. But when you get really clear about your time and you treat it like it's valuable. So like we talk about, tomorrow we're going to talk more about pricing. But if you want to talk about how much you want to get paid, start treating like that. That's how much you get paid every hour. And when you put into perspective $47 an hour, you just wasted $47. That's a night out to Olive Garden for 4 people, not even 4 people, for 3 people with unlimited breadsticks that you just wasted, right? Or that's 2 credit card bills that you've wasted. You know what I mean? Things like that. So, does anybody have any other issues with how to talk to people? Right? And this is just explaining your products. Of course, there's stuff like copywriting and things like that, but it's really more of catering to people how they want to be treated and talking to them how they talk. Right? And it's that kind of psychology also where if you're with your family, you speak one way. If you're with your spouse, you speak one way. When you're at work, you speak another. And when you're live streaming to a group of people, it's another way, right? You're okay, Kimberly. No worries. That's why we have replays. Okay? You're totally fine. So, like, think about that to yourself. It's like, how do I want to talk? And majority of the time, you can figure that out by paying attention to who you like to watch, who you like to talk to. You know, the kind of environment that you're around, that's the kind of way that you would talk to people and the kind of people that would talk to you. Okay? Okay. It's called code switching. Yep. It absolutely is. Thank you for that. Absolutely. It's funny. Actually, hang on. Kat says, I run a Facebook group with another reader and I feel like we give too much free stuff in readings, etc. Yeah. Don't do it no more. If you are at that point, because again, we're going to talk about pricing tomorrow, but if you're at that point where you're giving away free stuff and you feel icky, Start training yourself to ask for testimonials in exchange. In order to receive this, you need to give me a testimonial, and it needs to be delivered within 72 hours. Done. Get used to equal energy exchange. Stuff like that. I've been told I explain things too clinically. That can happen. Yeah, it's like that emotional barrier is gone because you're being very straightforward, especially depending on your background. Like literally doctors have a hard time with this sometimes. They have a hard time being personable because they're in a little white room with a white coat on, and they're being very straightforward and give a really long-winded Latin name about a disease you don't know instead of telling you what it does, right? So work on your customer service. I have more experience with it because all of my everyday jobs dealt with customer service. I worked in catering. I worked at Wally World in the costume department. I worked for credit card companies. Thank you for calling. Yeah. Hello, so-and-so. Thank you for calling. May I have your first and last name, please, and the last four of your social? And we want to appreciate you for having a Visa Black card for 2 years now. How can I help you today? You know, stuff like that. So I'm used to it, you know, but you kind of have to, if you're not used to that, you have to adjust. How am I going to speak to these people and make it sound like you're excited to talk to them and invite them to work with you when you have no clue what to do? Medical background, so that makes sense. Yeah, absolutely. Lauren, can we ask family for testimonials? Absolutely. Of course you can. They just can't put, oh, my baby girl is so good at doing readings, and she always knows what I'm talking about, and she always knows what I need to hear, and sometimes if I don't like it, that's okay, but she's doing wonderful. You need to make sure that it's really clean-cut and professional. But you absolutely can. I'm looking at the comment. I've been told that I'm very technical, but it's because people don't understand if I don't. Do you mean like talk in the technical terms? Because sometimes it just means that you need to rephrase it. You know? Like maybe the horse doesn't want to go to water that way, but maybe he wants to make a detour to go get an apple first and then go on and do it. Megan says, what do you do when someone who agreed to give you a testimonial doesn't? Not doing readings for you anymore. Same thing with people that refuse to pay me or go over time for a reading or a service and don't pay me. Nope, bye. Same thing if you invite someone and they always seem interested and then they give a reason that they're not paying over and over and over again. Not anymore. I personally don't, because that person is taking advantage of your time and they crossed a boundary. In order to receive something from me, I need equal energy exchange the other way. That's one reason why I don't allow refunds, because you are paying for a service from me and you can't give me my time back, right? And anything that I gave you, again, I can't take that back because a lot of the time it's intangible. It's time that's been used. And you know what? And that's also just my policy. Someone asked about privacy policies, refund policies, stuff like that. That's something that you need to put up front, right? An easy place for them to go get it. Kimberly says, I think I'm very specific and give an alternative explanation to be clear. It might come from teaching English as a second language. Yeah, it can absolutely be. It can absolutely be. If you find a new way to explain things, that happens a lot of the time, like you said, with teachers. You can do that a lot of the time with, mainly language. now that I think about it, because I was going to say theater, but it still deals with language. You find a new way to phrase something. Right, I'm having that right now with National Novel Writing Month. It's the Chekhov quote for "Don't tell me the moon the moon is shining. Show me its light through broken glass." I'm pretty sure. Yeah, like that. Don't tell me it's one way. Curve it a little bit. Make it very easy. Yes, National Novel Writing Month for the win. I'm trying. I hit my 10K words today. I'm happy. Awesome. So we've been chatting for about an hour. Does anybody else have any questions? Because I love the questions. Keep them coming if you have them. I adore it. What's this button do? Oh, okay. Keep noticing that I keep going like this, like I have a beard. It's imaginary. Old soul. Okay. I think we're all good. And again, this is only the second day, right? We have covered a lot so far. We've talked you through how to detox all your stuff and how to clear out your stuff. By the way, people who were here yesterday, what did you put on your leather jacket? Tell me what you put on your leather jacket. Because that was a part of the workbook yesterday, was to design your leather jacket with things that you adore and that inspire you. So what leather jacket are you wearing in your business? No, Kimberly. The PDFs, that's a wonderful question, because you signed up on Thinkific. You got to go back on Thinkific and log in, and when you go to the course, that's where you download it. And I'm doing it that way, so then when you go back through and I've made updates, it's an easy place for you to get them again. All the replays will be put there too. So the replay from today will also be put on there. I did send an email out though, letting everybody know, hey, I sent out, like, the content is available now, and here's where you can go sign in. I did do that. So be sure to check your spam box to see if that happened. Oh, okay. That's fine. Yeah. Some people are new. All you do is go on the croneacademy.thinkific.com area. That's where all the free content for this is. And when you do that, you'll see your list of courses that you have enrolled in for the Crone Academy on Thinkific. And on there should be the Kick the Stage Fright series. Yeah, all the content will be on there. It's a bit different from the series that I've done in the past where I'll email everybody the stuff. But I want to make sure the people that signed up for it get it. And if you have issues, let me know. But all right. Absolutely. Tomorrow, we're going to be wrapping this up. But we're going to be talking about how to price your offers so you meet your income goals consistently every month and attract the right high vibe clients. Because pricing is very important, because not only do we want to make sure that it feels good, but then we want to know how many we need to sell in order to meet our income goal, and how many people we need to talk to in order to sell that many so we meet our goal. So we're going to be breaking it down really easy. We're going to be talking through it. And I'm going to talk to you about how we want to tier your offers. That way you can go ahead and start working and start being coaches and being readers and selling your products and getting some stuff underway, because then you can leave that yucky 9 to 5 or you could go to school and not have to worry about your finances, and you can get everything under control for yourself and just, that's the goal. So again, those that are on the Thinkific, be sure to go sign into your course and you will be able to get the workbook. It's already there. The replay will go up after it's done processing on here. And then if you want to get a jump start on scheduling your stuff, if you want to get a jump start on creating your offers and on creating a monthly and weekly schedule, so there's no more pussyfooting around, no more messing around, you get everything done and you start working a schedule and you start getting clients. At the bottom of your workbooks, I explain how you can do that with me. It's a little bundle. I show you how to use it and everything. So I hope everyone has a fabulous day. You're absolutely welcome for doing this. And I shall be talking to you later. Bye.